integration with the prognosis to make your job easier. I'm going to go through and illustrate these tasks that you can take to help maximize your revenue by using TriZetto and Prognosis together. We will share the integration, TriZetto Reports, Eligibility Verification, automated EOBs, and how to make an easy transition and savings. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen on the TriZetto client portal and just give you a quick introduction to this as well. So there are 4 components of the integration between TriZetto Provider Solutions and the Prognosis software. The first one is your claim submission. You are able to submit directly out of the software at a click of a button, and your claims will transmit over to TriZetto instantaneously. So when you are working those and batching those claims together, you don't necessarily have to leave the software and do an upload. It's all going to be sent transmission through your software. So we will go over some other components. So the first one is claims. The second one is your ERAs, your patient statements, and then also your eligibility verification. So we're going to cover all 4 of those. Now, since we just kind of talked about the claim submission, I am going to show you and dive into some of the reports. But first, as you kind of see in the center of my screen here, we do have a performance at a glance. So I really want to cover this because TriZetto and Prognosis goal is to help you lower any rejection rate that you do have and to help make your process as efficient as possible. So what this little performance at a glance guideline will do for you is to let you know how you're doing over the previous months. Are we helping you lower that rejection rate at which you may have starting with us? You can take a look at your claim volume per month and see the statistics of that. You can view your top rejection messages because we always want to work your top rejections first to help eliminate those down. And if you do have a 1% rejection rate or less, you will be included in that 99% club. We always want to make sure that we're keeping track of when we're submitting those claims. So always try to keep those claims going out the door within that first 7 days of that data service from seeing the patient. You will also be able to see your electronic remit dollars coming back each month. So how much revenue are we able to obtain back from the insurance company? And then this is an important tab too. I've talked to a lot of offices that may struggle or have the challenge of having a lot of denied payment from the insurance company. So this will really help you with your top denials. It will categorize them by the actual denial code and then how many service lines have that same code, and then of course the denied amount. So we always want to focus on that. TriZetto does have an auto appeals process where you are able to organize your denials with this report here, and it pre-populates that form for you to go after your appeals. So definitely take a look at this performance at a glance. We do on the left-hand side have your My Workflow, and this is important because this is your daily, weekly, and monthly tasks. This is going to allow you to organize your day-to-day. Now, we've talked about the claim submission. There's a couple reports in between submitting your claim and then when we retrieve your electronic EOB back to Prognosis. So that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. Those are going to be considered your analytic reports or your tracking reports. So the first one I want to show you is the confirmed file delivery. So if we dive into this report, this is really good. So let's say after you submit your batches at a click of a button from Prognosis, they will then come over to us instantaneously. We will pick them up for processing, and then you are always able to confirm that every file has been processed or what status that they are in. Now, when you do click on these files here, this is really important for tracking. So if you ever want to dive out here, let's say on a daily or weekly task, that's going to be really good to add that to your calendar for that. Most importantly, you want to take a look to see which claims have been accepted or rejected by TriZetto and which claims have been accepted or rejected by the payer. Now, TriZetto has a 92% direct connection. So the no reply from payer here is very rare, and that usually just tells you if a claim or a payer is experiencing delays on file. So we always want to make sure that we go after that as well. So you can just take a little quick overview of this. This will act more of a GPS for you. We actually don't stop here though. So this is auto-generated, but we will also auto-generate another important report for you. And that's going to be housed underneath your notification center with the work rejected claims. And this of course is going to be a daily task. So if we click on primary claim rejections, it's going to let you know that you have 6 new rejections, for example. We auto batch these together, so what we are doing is we're actually pulling all of your rejections out. We're pulling up the payer rejections and the TriZetto edit rejections. So you'll see a breakdown of all of your rejections here. You'll be able to see the content and underneath that claim item why it was rejected or what the rejection message is. And then if you actually dive into that claim line, it will tell you the even further details. So your claim information, and then down here at the bottom, it will show you, if you view details, what that rejection means and what you need to do to make a correction. We will even tell you the placement of where that correction needs to be made within your software too. So just a little bit more information and detailed for you. You always want to make corrections, however, to your claims within Prognosis. Prognosis has a lot of great reports, a lot of great working tools, so make those corrections to your original claim within Prognosis, rebatch it, click a button, and submit. This is really good for using it as more of a to-do list or as an organizer versus keeping a spreadsheet or taking a list and actually plugging it in and searching for that individual claim. We're going to basically have everything grouped together here ready to go free for that day. And then you can check mark each one off as you work through them, and that will actually fall off of your to-do list. So that's a very, very popular report. Another report that we have, I'm going to go back to the home page here. Now this is underneath the weekly task, and the reason why it's underneath the weekly task is because let's say you're working through these rejections. Maybe there's a few that come in here every day or every other day. This is a good report to run either weekly, or you can try to run it bi-weekly. But basically, if you have any claims sitting out on this page, any rejected claims, that means that we did not receive that second or resubmission from your software. Okay, so it's kind of like a backup plan. It is what it's called as a safety net. So we're just trying to make sure and ensure that none of your claims are falling in the cracks. This is really good, you know, because we're all, you know, we all make human errors, or we may get busy and look over things. So this is just a really good backup plan to run on a weekly task. Now, one of my favorite reports that I briefly talked about on the Performance at a Glance on the home page is your top rejections. Now this is going to allow you to analyze those rejections, and one of my favorite ones is actually searching it by payer name. Now before I go into that, it will tell you what your top rejection messages are, and it groups them together. So if you do dive in and click into it, it will give you a breakdown of all of your claims, and then on the error count, it's going to tell you how many claims have that actual rejection, and then of course the charges. We always want to work the top ones first because that's going to ensure a lower rejection rate in the long run. So if we're able to work and get used to, you know, catching those up front, then that will minimize your rejection rate and then equal to you getting paid more efficiently and quicker and less work on your end. So if we do it by payer, this is really good too, because if you wanted to kind of see, okay, what top rejections or what are the most rejections that we have per payer. We have Aetna's at the top. If you scroll down, United Healthcare will see that they have 43 rejections, and then you're going to see a breakdown of each rejection message, and then you can actually click on the report, go into it, and you have a report already made for you. So these are really auto-generated for you and ready to go, so you don't have to pull any manual information. So that's a very popular report that I'd like to show you. Now that all comes into your claim process, your claim workflow, getting it out the door, making sure that those are resubmitted or corrected on the front end. Now what comes after that is your insurance payments. Okay, so all of your EOBs are going to come back to a one-stop shop. They are going to come back to TriZetto, and then we're going to actually auto-push them back to Prognosis. Now first I want to show you where these EOBs are housed. They're going to be housed underneath this $sign. And if you dive into this payment area, this is going to act really as a virtual filing cabinet. You don't have to work these EOBs right here. It's more here for report system. If I scroll up, you can do an advanced search and you can pull it by check information or number, or run a report on a specific payer for those EOBs. You can also put in the patient information. These are also printable on the portal as well. So if you ever need to search for that EOB, print it off, give a hard copy to a patient, that's perfectly fine. You can do that on here. Now what's really important about this is that All of these that you're seeing on the portal here, these will be pushed back through Prognosis. So they will be entered or pushed through your files within the Remittance tab. Okay, so this is just a quick view of that. You will be able to see all the charges and amounts here. Now what's important about all of your EOBs coming back right through Prognosis is that the next step would be posting, in which you are able to use the auto posting feature, which is really the wave of the future. It doesn't take as much time. If you, usually on average, offices who are not using auto posting are probably 45 days or more for their AR turnaround time. This could really help cut those days in half and really help just get the job done quicker for you. Auto posting is important. It's there for accuracy, time management, help take the workload off of your plate, and if there is anything that doesn't align up with your ledger, it will flag it for you. So it will make sure that everything is posted correctly. So I'm going to actually go back to the home page. That's for our ERAs, and that is the second component that's integrated. Now the third and fourth component is your eligibility verification, which usually that's what you check at first when the patient comes in. So that one I am a little bit on backtracking of. But the fourth one will be your statements, which would usually come after your payment posting. So first I'm going to show you the eligibility. This is the online version, but I want you to keep in mind that this is integrated through Prognosis. You will be able to pull up a patient account at the time of visit and then click a button to get TriZetto eligibility information. It's instantaneous. We have a real-time eligibility connection. So I'm going to kind of help paint the picture and illustrate how that works. So let's pretend that we are in a patient account. The information is already set in that patient account, and then you click the button to obtain that report. It comes back to your system, and then you are able to look at that report to see the copay, coinsurance, deductible information. If authorization is required, we always post the network indicator. So this is everything that is updated on file with the insurance company. So you're going to get this right away, and it will save to each patient account. So if you see a patient on Monday, they come back in on Wednesday, that information, their copay, is already listed within that patient account. So that's a really popular tool. Our eligibility tool is one of our most used products. So definitely take advantage of that. The purpose of this is to help you eliminate phone calls. So think about what your process is today. And if you are spending a lot of time making those phone calls, waiting on hold, or if you're keeping a book of different user and passwords and you're having to reset that every 45 days, this is your one-stop shop. So that will be integrated back through Prognosis. You don't have to necessarily use it on the portal. Now the fourth component is statements. Now think about what your process is today. Are you printing those statements off? Are you stuffing and folding? Are you mailing them out? We have an integrated process where we're not taking the control away from you. You can still customize your statement. You're still in the driver's seat. You're still creating them and posting whatever needs to go on that invoice yourself. What TriZetto is helping is we are going to take away the time and labor and also help with the supply cost in-house. So we have inclusive statements. So you're going to, again, create these through Prognosis, and then what you'll do is you'll actually batch them as you would a claim file and then click a button, and then they come over to TriZetto, and then we send them out for you. This is an example of our patient statements template. You can put your office information at the top left corner. You can leave or remove the payment information, and as you can see, you have a lot of information in the description area. So what this is going to do, again, is help minimize the hours you're working on this every day or every week. It shouldn't take you that long just to create them, pre-populate them within Prognosis, add them to the batch, and then you can review them and then send them off to us at a click of a button. We include the statement here itself. We include the stamp, a return envelope, labeling, so we'll be able to help you get that implemented and save you some time in the office. So I'm going to go ahead and That's it for the TriZetto area. Now keep in mind a couple things here. You are able to work directly out of Prognosis if you would like to with those 4 components. You do have the ability to hop out to TriZetto's portal for the extra resources. We encourage you to do that because you have access to it 24/7. You can log on anywhere on a browser, a secured browser. The analytic reports, the tracking reports are all auto-generated for you, so take advantage of that. Loosen up your workload. It will help you at the end of the day maximize that revenue and help you have more of a one-stop shop integration between TriZetto and Prognosis. So the efficiency will increase there. I'm going to go ahead and pass it back to James, and he's going to go over some of the exciting RCM processes.
Courtney, that was fantastic. Thank you so much for running us through all those great features that are available through TriZetto. And what I'm showing on the screen now is just a little reinforcement of what you went through as a handy-dandy printout reminder for folks listening on the webinar. The next few slides are just some printouts that we made for you to remind you of the daily things you can do, the weekly things that you can do, and the monthly things that you can do to work within the system and address all kinds of billing issues as proactively as possible. So on top of all the great information that we've given out today, for anyone that's not yet using TriZetto Provider Solutions as their clearinghouse, we have a special promotion just for joining in the webinar today. If you're not currently using TPS, if you sign up by June 30th, they're going to waive the $200 setup fee, and you're going to get the first 2 months of service at no charge for free. So definitely encourage anyone that's on the webinar to get in contact with their Prognosis sales rep or even through support, and we can get you converted over to TriZetto for a clearinghouse. If you're already a TriZetto Provider Solutions customer working with Prognosis, if you get a new product out of the TriZetto Solutions package, maybe you're going to sign up for eligibility and expand that package. That's one of the most frequently used, as Courtney mentioned. You still get the first 2 months free. So since you're already set up, we can't waive that fee for you, but the first 2 months free is definitely a bonus, and plus you get the great eligibility package or whatever you're using to expand with your TPS solutions. So a quick way to get the message to the folks at Prognosis that you want to add on to your TriZetto or to sign up with TriZetto for starters, we've made it a special URL that you can visit, which is prognosis.com/add-TriZetto. So that'll take you right to a form where you can just put a quick note to us and say, hey, I attended the webinar and we want to convert to TriZetto or add on to our existing TriZetto instance. So feel free to just use this URL and it'll take you right to a form where you can send us that quick little note and we will move forward with getting you set up there. So just some highlights about if you're a Prognosis customer right now and you're not currently using our RCM services, again, as part of our one-stop shop highlights, if you are using the EHR now and you add on RCM, moving forward, the EHR software will be included. So you will just be paid for the RCM service or pay for the RCM service fees, but EHR software will be included for no additional charge. If you're an RCM customer, as opposed to just using Prognosis alone without being an RCM customer, what we've noticed, we just recently did an analysis of the returns and the billing practices across our customers for using just the EHR and using the practice management software or using our RCM services. And what we found is that for folks using our RCM, you're 2 times more likely to be a member of the 99% club. So to me, that's a pretty clear message that maybe your practice is doing a really good job billing, but you're not able to get to that 99% club status. It might be worth it for you to sign up for RCM and have our folks help you manage your billing, and you can spend that time that you're saving with other patient engagement activities. So it's not that anyone's going to have less to do. We've always got plenty to do. It's just we'll take care of the billing for you, and hopefully we'll get you up to that 99% club, and then you can deal with the people in the front office. So let us handle your billing through RCM, and you can deal with the medical practice, and everybody wins. If you do sign up for RCM, we've got dedicated account managers that are familiar with your account. You're going to know their name. They're going to know your account. And just in terms of the robustness of our service, we're trusted with over $100 million in claims monthly through our RCM service that we work through TriZetto. So it's a service that is running full steam ahead, and we've got a great track record for getting folks into that 99% club. Additional services beyond RCM, we are beginning to roll out a patient financial services and financial counselor service. And if you get in touch with us through that contact form, we can give you additional information about those two services. And we've also recently partnered with TSI for patient debt collection services, both in soft and hard debt collections. And by soft debt collections, I mean that the communications between the practice and the patient is labeled as coming from the provider. So there's no heavy-handed immediate threat of sending a patient to debt collection. The messaging comes out branded as from your practice, and TSI has an accelerator program where they make a series of statements and phone calls to the patient in order to encourage them to pay off their bills to the practice as rapidly as possible without having to wait until it gets to the point where you need to send them to a hard debt collection service. So there again, highlights for using TriZetto on prognosis. And again, to get in touch with us to add on these TriZetto services, you can use the URL up top. We're going to send these slides out to you for everybody that attended, so you don't need to take this information down, but this is where you can find it in the future. And we're also recording this webinar so that all the great information that Courtney passed on to us about all the detailed application and claim management services and application available in TriZetto, we're going to send you the link to the recording so you can review that information at your own pace. So we're going to post that up to the website. We're going to send these links out. So thanks again for joining us today. Courtney, thank you so much for joining us, and we will look forward to our next webinar that we're going to offer. We have another webinar coming up next week with regard to the SureScripts medication management for adherence application that they're rolling out. So that's something that if you're a billing expert and you're on this call and you're interested in the billing features, I would definitely suggest calling attention to your physician for the MMA webinar next week with SureScripts. So once again, thanks very much. I'm going to close the webinar down, and we'll look forward to seeing you again next time. Have a great day.